Hello, my name is Kendra Lee. I am the Workforce Development Director here for the JPI Group, and I'd like to say thank you for inviting us to have this discussion with you today.
Agreed. My name is Barbara Stapleton, and I am the Director of Business and Workforce Solutions with the JPI Group. And we're thrilled to have the opportunity to share just a few minutes of our time with you. One of the first things that we wanted to be able to talk with you about is kind of the importance of how workforce development and its role addresses the Justice 40 initiative. We know that's a conversation that we have with clients on a regular basis, and we understand that there is a strong need for a skilled workforce in the state of Nevada, and of course, that's beyond. One of the things that the JPI group does with the work that we do in Justice 40 initiatives is developing people first approach to evaluate those skills and knowledge of those workers in supporting their long-term success. And it benefits them as well as contributes to the prosperity of communities and businesses as well as those individuals. By prioritizing workforce development, your organizations and your state and your municipalities are able to invest in the future of those employees, as well as ensuring skilled and adaptable and productive workforce. We appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk with you briefly about that in terms of encompassing those activities that we look at when we're working in workforce development.
Right, and when we talk about workforce development and Justice 40, we really talk about creating equitable opportunities. And when we want to focus on individuals from under-resourced communities who face systemic barriers, but we also know that workforce development plays a role in those who are looking for a new career path. And it equips them with the knowledge and skills for these high demand, well paying roles. So when we think about how businesses can play a part, they have to invest time and resources because we know that this is a long term strategy. And we're at a unique time in the marketplace because there are major financial commitments from our federal government to accelerate our progress towards these clean energy goals. But at the end of the day, we need a ready and prepared, highly skilled workforce. And so without that workforce, we know projects will be delayed, costs will be high, there will be reduced quality, and it will hinder us from reaching those goals. So, Barbara, can you share how we use data and analytics to contribute to understanding the whole national and local landscape in order to make good decisions?
Absolutely. Thank you, Kendra. We look at so many different things when we start on any given project. And one of those is related to kind of taking that data from the 30,000 foot view all the way down to that micro level within a region. When we were looking at the state of Nevada's data, one of the things that we see, of course, is you've got a very healthy population in terms of your economic overview, as well as a good, solid regional employment. Over the past 5 years, your employment has grown and is projected to continue to grow over the next 5 years, both in Las Vegas, when we look at a municipality, for example, as well as for the state as a whole. And the median household income is one of those things that we also take into consideration. We do see that within the state and even within Las Vegas as well, it is slightly below the national average. And so that is one of the things that we would take into consideration when we're looking at different roles, particularly in energy and utility space. But one of the things that is exciting to see is that employment increase, of course, in Nevada. It's had an 11.2% increase uh, just in the last 5 years. And this really does outpace what the national growth rate is multiple times over. So that's positive for the state, and it's positive, of course, for organizations as well as residents. And then within residents, we look at educational attainment too. And so that's been very positive for the state of Nevada. You've done an excellent job in terms of training your workforce and now figuring out how we bridge that gap to make those connectivities and what that looks like. Is one of the things, as you were asking about, Kendra, kind of looking at that micro level, we do see that, the attrition with particularly in retirement rates, we look at attrition related to that and, see that there is about, 150,000 more people that will be retiring than will be entering or joining the workforce. And so that's a consideration of how we're going to do upskilling opportunities and retraining to take that into, account for what are the other things that are of issue within an organization. And that really helps us level set and get those points correct, because what looks right for Nevada, or as I've mentioned a few times, Las Vegas, if we were looking at a metro, is not necessarily going to be what looks right for Phoenix per se, or for Chicago, and so and for their subsequent states too. So we really have to get into the details to find the story of what's out there and help support long term.
Absolutely. And so, when we think about what that reveals, we also have to then figure out what is our strategy for funding. So, again, um, we know that there's a lot of funding in the marketplace from HIJA and IRA and CHIP. And so, what is the strategy to go directly to the state energy offices? And so, this is what we've been doing. We've been reaching out to partners, and you have to be able to speak adequately to your capabilities and your strategies, and what does a great partnership look like. And so, we've been speaking with utilities, with implementers, with professional organizations to propose effective workforce development programming. But it has to involve a gap analysis. You have to understand where those holes are and what's happening in that local marketplace. You want to understand the barriers, also looking at what RFP opportunities exist, um, maybe responding to RFQLs. But when you want to identify the greatest need, you have to look at what local projects are available. What are those goals? And then understand those roles required to successfully execute those projects. What is the volume of staffing that is needed? What qualifications are necessary, the skill sets, and then take that a step further. Who are the training providers? Vocational programs, academic institutions, HBCUs, community colleges, and then we must involve also community-based organizations and nonprofits, because they are going to connect us to different supports and connect us to marginalized communities. But in many instances, they are eligible to apply for funding that we are not. And so if they have the funding, but they don't have the capability to execute on their own. So again, there's a great priority in partnerships. And with that, we'd like to share with you just a case study. We were able to work with a major utility in New Jersey. They had a lofty goal of hiring 2,000 trainees in over a 2 to 3 year time period. And, we said, well, we are up for this initiative because they've had some struggles. We weren't initially involved, but fortunately, through our good reputation and our hard work ethic, we were invited to the party. And so we realized that we needed to help them create the framework, and our responsibility was to help recruit, train, and place trainees. And they wanted to focus on the urban centers because they wanted to diversify this workforce. And so, as Barbara mentioned, we had to go and we had to understand the numbers and the data and analytics to inform our strategy. We had to identify strategic partners. So when you're going into communities, you really want to partner with those community-based organizations, or CBOs, and nonprofits, because they have the trust of the community. They understand the local community and they speak the language. So that allowed us to accelerate our efforts rather quickly. And then you have to look at your program design, right? Is it accessible? Is it accessible to everyone? Do we have barrier removal services there? Are we considering just access for those who may have barriers? Are we looking at digital access, flexible scheduling? All of those things need to be considered when you want to create diverse and inclusive programs. And I'm happy to say that we were able to help deliver 84% diverse candidates. And some people don't understand how many people you need to outreach. We had to reach out to over 2,000 people in order to get about 90 participants in the program. And we're happy to say that we've provided mentorship. And because of that, it increased the retention of the project, and we still have people working. on this project to this day. So just wanted to share one case study and kind of highlight some of those best practices. But it's really important the power of partnerships. Again, community-based organizations, your churches, your local chambers of commerce, your workforce development boards, and then obviously we need to bring in the employers, the businesses, and we all need to be working together in order to really see success, to make sure our program is streamlined and create efficiencies, and then make sure that there's compliance and accountability and reporting. So we also leverage technology. And that's really the only way to grow and scale a program.
Exactly, Kendra. We couldn't share it any better. Those are some fantastic outcomes. And when we see that, all the job creation that's going to occur with, like you said, IRA, IIJA, CHIPS, and in these different programs, we really have to be prepared with all of the tools that are in the toolkit to be able to make it work. So it's been exciting to be able to share with you all today. We're thrilled to have the opportunity, and thank you. We look forward to hearing from you in the future and having additional conversations. Um, there's a lot of exciting things out there, and we would love to be able to visit with you on those a bit more.
Thank you so much. We hope you enjoy the rest of your conference, and we look forward to getting some feedback on your continued conversations and hopefully being able to engage some of you in further conversation. So thank you so much. Enjoy.